Hello and welcome back to my stamp studio. So it's October. You've heard me say it. I do not begin holiday stamping until October 1st. And despite enjoying the gorgeous autumn colors we have going on right now, I'm true to my word and have begun gearing up for the upcoming holiday card making season. So lately I've been working with the Poinsettia Place suite, which begins on page 14 of the Holiday Stampin' Up! Mini catalog. It's a gorgeous holiday suite of products, and I'm excited to share it as my first holiday class to go card kit. Okay, so on page 14, you have these beautiful pictures of some sample cards. Absolutely pretty. It just shows all the versatility of this stamp set. It coordinates with Real Red, Old Olive, Garden Green, Bumblebee, and Soft Suede. And a lot of those colors can be found in the Poinsettia Place DSP, which is on the top of page 15. Here is the bundle. We'll talk about that here in just a little bit. Then you have this plush Poinsettia specialty paper, which is gorgeous. It's this flocked, thicker vellum that you can use as backgrounds or to layer over the DSP. It's just so pretty. And then you have some beaded pearl embellishments here that are just the perfect accent to the center of a poinsettia. And then some real red sheer ribbon, which is very pretty. It's dainty, and we'll use it here in just a little bit. And then, of course, the bundle. What's a suite without a stamp set and die bundle? So we have the Poinsettia Petals bundle. The stamp set is a photopolymer stamp set. And I'll bring this in. You can just kind of see the images maybe a little bit better. But you get 3 of the poinsettia flowers that are 3 different sizes that layer beautifully. You get another single poinsettia bloom here. This guy actually coordinates with one of these where you can come down the middle to give it just a little bit more detail and some veining down the center of those petals. You also have some little berry sprigs stamps here that are a 2-step stamp. One berry stamps inside the other one there. The same with the leaves. You're given 2 different leaf options that are 2-step stamping. And then you also get some of this greenery here, little sprig. There's also these little center dots here that you can use for the centers of the poinsettias. The words that go with this stamp set: may magic and wonder bloom this holiday. Warm wishes from our home to yours. Thank you for making this a wonderful holiday season. Happy holidays, and then Merry Christmas. Okay, so it's a set of 18 stamps. And photopolymer, if I haven't already said that. Then it bundles with the poinsettia dies, and most of these dies coordinate with a stamp. There are 3 here that not only cut out those beautiful floral poinsettia blooms, but they also have a little detailed inside die that gives it a little bit of an embossed or textured look down the center of the veins of those petals. Really pretty. There are 2 leaf dies that basically do the same thing, offer that little bit of veining down the center. This one coordinates with that bigger single poinsettia stamp. This coordinates with that little greenery or evergreen sprig. And then these 2 coordinate with the other stamped sprigged images that are in the set. And then you have 2 little tiny mini little poinsettia blooms here, and then this coordinates for a center. You can punch those out and make a nice little center for the poinsettia blooms. So again, a die set of 18 as well. So you're getting a lot for your money here in this bundle. This bundle sells for $56.50, and I think it's a nice addition to anybody's stamp stash, really. And I think you would use it for years to come. So, my class to go card kits. So, here they are. So, I really went with the red and white and of basically the poinsettia, but also just that beautiful bright red and white color that we all think of at Christmas time. So my class to go card kit is free with the purchase of the Poinsettia Petals bundle. You would receive supplies to create 2 of each of these cards. You would receive the pre-cut and scored cardstock, papers, embellishments, ribbons, and an envelope to complete the kit cards. Now, because everyone has different stamp stashes, you may not have some of the basic products I'm using on these kit cards. So I offer many additional products in what I call an add-on list. You can receive a 10% discount on these add-on items with the purchase of the Class to Go card kit bundle. I will be trying to my best to mention these add-on items in my video today, but they will also be listed with this post. It's important to point out here the 10% discount will only be available when you send me your order and I place it for you. It's the only way I can give you that discount. I do need to charge a $4 postage fee, which covers my mailing of the card kit to you. Your Stampin' Up! Order will be shipped directly to you from Stampin' Up! Once you have all your stamping supplies, you're ready to simply sit and stamp with this video as your guide. The kit does all the creativity for you, and you get to stamp in the comfort and safety of your home. If you're interested in ordering my Poinsettia Place Class to Go card kit, contact me via email or message me on Facebook when you're ready to place your order. You will find all these details in this post along with the ordering dates. But please let me know if you have any questions. Also, I wanted to take this opportunity to share that in the spirit of the holidays, I'm changing up all my holiday Class to Go kits. Yes, this year, unfortunately, I will not be able to safely hold my annual holiday card classes, which truly saddens me. I look forward to creating and prepping for these classes every year, and I will miss them. But more importantly, I will miss catching up with all of you. I'm hoping that next year we will be back together again. However, I think I found a happy alternative for all of you. Keep watching. I'll discuss and show some additional add-on options to this class at the end of this video today. You won't want to miss them. So let's get on to demonstrating my kit cards. I think I'm going to start with this one here first, okay? So your Class to Go card kit would arrive with supplies, double these. You would have a piece of real red cardstock scored down the middle at 4 1/4. You have another piece of larger scrap real red cardstock. You have a piece of white that measures 4 by 5 1/4, which would be an inside piece to your card. You have an additional piece that measures 4 by 5 1/4. You have a smaller little piece of white, and I think this measures about 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. You have a scrappy piece of garden green, a scrappy piece of vellum, a scrappy piece of silver metallic paper, a little small scrap of basic black, and then you also have a strip of this beautiful flocked paper, okay? So let's get started. So go ahead and we'll score our card on the pre-scored line. You have a piece of Whisper White that measures 4 by 5 1/4. And I went ahead and I just stamped one of the greetings from the stamp set, May Magic and Wonder Bloom This Holiday. And that's going to go right here on the inside of your card. And I stamped that in a real red ink. So that ink would be an add-on item to this class. The next thing I want to attach is my other piece of 4 by 5 1/4. And then I had this little bit smaller piece of white. And this little piece of white, I ran through one of the new embossing folders that's part of the Wrapped in Textured combo pack. And I love these little small ones. You're getting 2 in a pack. It's part of the Heartwarming Hugs suite. And if you haven't checked that suite out yet, it's very cute. But there's one that has just some little dots on it. I don't know if that's going to pick up there. Maybe like that. You can pick it up a little bit better. And then it also has this other one that's more of kind of a textured crisscross background. Okay? So we're going to use both of these folders. I'm going to use this one on this card, and this one is going to get used on the second card part of this kit. So you would take your smaller piece of Whisper White here, that's 3 1/4 by 5 1/4, and run it through, if you want to purchase the Wrapped in Textured embossing folder. That will be an add-on item for this class. However, you could use any embossing folder that you might have on hand for this. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm just going to put a little bit of multi-purpose glue on the back side of that. And I'm just going to center it top to bottom here on that piece of 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White piece, okay? Just pretty. I don't think the camera's picking this up, but this design is so simple, elegant, and pretty on there. Okay, the next thing I want to do is go ahead and attach some of my real red shimmer ribbon, and you'll receive a piece that is pre-cut for you already. But I'm going to go ahead and cut myself a piece there. I'm just going to pull in 2 pieces of good old Scotch tape. And I'm not really centering that. I'm kind of leaving that up just a little bit towards the top. And I'm going to go ahead and flip that back over because I want to make sure that that didn't slide on me before I attach this side here. Okay. And then the next thing you're going to need is that beautiful piece of flocked specialty paper. And you do have to be careful with this. You can't put glue just, it's kind of like vellum. You know how we use glue very sparingly with vellum because it shows through. And so this is kind of the same. So I'm just going to put just a little bit of multi-purpose glue right behind that top edge only, okay? And I'm just pressing that nice and firm just to give that a little bit of a hold there, okay? Now I noticed that my little piece of plush specialty paper is just a titch long over here. So I'm going to take some scissors and I'm just going to trim that off, okay? Keep pressing that down. It's trying to stick on that textured embossed piece behind there too. So it might take just a little bit more time to really get that to stick nicely there, okay? In the meanwhile, while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and attach 4 dimensionals on my card base. And then we'll go ahead and place this on our card base, centering it on all 4 sides. Give that just one more press there. Okay, and then we'll just set that aside and just let that dry just a little bit more, okay? So the next thing we need is our, excuse me, larger piece of real red cardstock. And I'm going to pull in the stamp apparatus for this because I just think that it works so nicely with photopolymer stamps. So the stamp apparatus, I have done this before. I'm going to do it again. I will put this as an add-on item to this Class to Go card kit. I really do think that this is a wonderful addition to anybody's stamp stash, all right? I have another little case, stamp case over here that I'm going to put over here on this side that is going to keep that plate nice and level to make it a little bit easier when I go to ink that up. So I have my scrap piece of real red. I don't ever like to place it way up here in the corner. I come down and place it 1 square down just because it makes it a little bit nicer. Those images don't always come out as well if it's up here in the corner, okay? So next I'm going to take my embossing buddy and go over my real red cardstock. I kind of got ahead of myself here. I'm going to lay my stamps down and then I may buddy again, okay? So I have my 3 blooms that I'm going to take and put stamp side down onto my real red cardstock where I want them. And this might have seemed like a pretty large piece of real red, but these flowers, this was the smallest piece I could get to really be able to get all 3 of these to work on here. We do want them to be spaced apart nicely because you are going to get some dies around them to be able to punch them out. So you don't want them too close to the edge of the cardstock, and you also don't want them too close to each other, okay? So just kind of play around with them until you get them where you think that you're safe on all around all the sides. Okay. Now, once you have them where you want them, I'm going to bring the clear plate down onto them and grab them. All right, and now I'm going to go back in with my buddy, and I'm just going to go over that real red cardstock. Okay, I just want to make sure that there isn't any static fingerprints or any ink that might have been left on those stamps there to be able to pick up any embossing powder. I'm going to take my Versamark ink pad, and that is going to be an add-on item to this class. I'm going to go ahead and ink those flowers, and you can see how easy they're inking there because it's a nice flat surface. That plate is nice and flat for me to be able to get some ink on those. And then I'm going to come over and I'm going to press pretty firmly around all 5 petals so that I know we've hit it, and really give that paper a chance to soak up some of that ink. I'm going to go ahead and pull that away, and not only does the ink make that sticky, but also just photopolymer stamps, remember, have a little bit of a stick to them. Okay, so because I'm using the Stamparatus, I know that these will be perfectly placed on top of my already stamped images, and I'm just going to go ahead, because I can, add another little stamping of the Versamark on there, just to know that I got a really good inking. Pressing again around all of the petals, and then gently pulling it up. Okay. Go ahead and remove my magnets. Then I'm going to pull my embossing powder in here, and I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle it down over my stamped images. And the embossing powder will stick beautifully. Okay, now sometimes, this doesn't matter on this project so much, but sometimes I'll take a paintbrush and kind of touch up little areas if I need to. But on this one in particular, I did not need to do that because we're going to punch these out. Okay, now I've gone ahead and just fired up my embossing gun here. I'm just going to go ahead and emboss one of these, just so you can kind of see on the camera here what happens. The heat of the embossing gun will melt that embossing powder, and it just gives it a nice bold look. Okay, so you would continue to heat all 3 of those, okay? But for the sake of time, I went ahead and I heated them, and then I also took the coordinating dies from the stamp set and punched them out. Okay. Now to get these, I only used, let me show you the dies that I used. I just used these outside dies, okay? This time I did not use the inside of the dies that give you the little veining on the leaves, okay? All right, so now we have all 3 of our flowers. The next thing I want to do is do some leaves, and I'm going to pull in that piece of vellum, and again I'm going to take my embossing buddy, and because I don't have my Stamparatus to stamp on, I'm going to bring in one of those black mats. Okay, I've talked about these before. This is the Stamparatus foam mat that you can buy individually. Remember that it has a Stampin' Up! Logo on one side, so typically I try to remember to flip it and use it on its other side, so that way there's no way that can get involved in your stamped image. And then I have 2 leaves of the set mounted on my clear block here, and I'm just going to take some Versamark, come in here. Oops, I guess they did work that way. Well, I think we've got to angle them a little bit. Go ahead and stamp those on here. Again, just like cardstock, vellum could take a little bit to really be able to have that Versamark ink take to it. So, okay. Now, there's 2 other little stamps here that come with the set that coordinate with the leaves that actually are a nice little inside to the leaf. It's kind of a little shadowing. And I had gone ahead and matched these up. Yeah, I thought I did. I guess I didn't. I'm going to take them off. There's one. I'm going right over the top of that one. And I'm going to go ahead and peel that off. Go ahead and ink this up again. And that one goes right over the top of that one there, okay? But they give you kind of a nice little more detail to the center of that leaf, okay? I'm going to pull my white embossing powder in here, and we are going to white emboss these, okay? And again, for the sake of time, I've already done that, and I've punched those out with the coordinating leaf dies, okay? I also, out of your garden green scrap that you have in your kit, punched out 2 more leaves that are going to be placed back behind these to give them just a little bit more pop of color, okay? Now, your silver metallic piece will get run through your die cutting machine using this die here, this little sprig die, the one that has the little berries on it. And for the sake of time, I've already made 2 of those. You should be able to get 2 out of your piece of silver metallic. Place it like this, and then place the other one like that, okay? And then our greeting is this little piece of basic black, and there's a happy holiday sentiment that comes in this bundle, and I went ahead and just white embossed it on black on that little piece there, okay? All right, now I think we have all of our pieces and we can start to assemble. I'm going to start with this beautiful flower. I just love that white embossing on that real red cardstock. It just looks so Christmassy. So I'm going to add just a little bit of my multi-purpose glue to the center of the large flower and the middle flower, okay? And then I'm just going to take my middle flower and layer it with the leaves staggered in between the leaves of the larger one. And then the same thing with the small one. I'm going to stagger the leaves, or petals, I guess I should say. Poinsettias, it's hard, you know, think of leaves or petals, because I think their petals are leaves. Anyway, just like that, okay? I'm going to go ahead and apply just a little bit more multi-purpose glue here to the center, and grab one of the beaded pearls that's part of this suite, and stick one of those right there in the center of that flower. And if that doesn't sparkle and look gorgeous on there, oh, absolutely gorgeous. So go ahead and kind of mess with it. You have a little bit of time with multi-purpose glue to kind of shift and move it till you get it like you like it or want it. Let that set just for a little bit and let it dry. Now, I could have used glue dots to attach that little guy to the center, your pearl, beaded pearl. But the glue, I think, holds it much, much better. While I'm waiting for that to dry just a little bit, I'm going to take my Happy Holidays, and I'm going to give that just a little bit of a flag cut at the end. Okay, that'll be all ready to go. And then let's bring our card base back in here. So to attach my poinsettia, I'm going to use 2 dimensionals on the back side of this, okay? I will also tell you that it looks different when you hold it in different directions. Like I hold it like this, I love it. Sometimes I turn them and hold them and they kind of look a little different. So, or a little misproportion kind of thing. So you kind of eyeball which direction or which way you like yours the best, okay? I think it's the way it's designed. I think it's the way the petals are, and that's kind of the way poinsettias are anyway. So on the back side of that, I'm going to place 2 dimensionals. And I'm going to place this over kind of towards the left of the card, but just off-center just a little bit to the left. Okay? That way it'll give it plenty of room for my leaves. The leaves I'm going to take, and I'm just on the back sides of my vellum leaves, I'm going to apply just a little bit of adhesive. And then I'm going to come down here and the one end is going to match, but I'm just going to allow a little bit of that garden green cardstock to peek through. And on this one, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it on the opposite side. So I have the greens coming out on the right side of this one and the left side of that one. Okay. Okay. I'm going to take my larger leaf, put a little bit more multi-purpose glue behind it, and I'm going to sneak it in right up here at the top. I'm going to take the smaller leaf and do the same, but it's going to peek out down here at the bottom. And then these silver little sprigs here, I find the best way to attach these is my multi-purpose glue. I'm only going to hit a couple of those lower berries then, and then just a little bit of that stem. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick up my petal of my poinsettia and go ahead and just gently pop that down in there. Sometimes you hit either the dimensional or maybe the ribbon that's down in there, and if that happens or occurs and you're not able to push that sprig as far down as you'd like, come back out and take your snips and snip off the end of that. Okay, now I do want to make sure I still have enough glue on there, but what it does is it shortens it up a little bit there for you, and it should allow you to be able to get that down in there. Okay, I'm sorry, part of it's because it's so far out in front of me, I'm having a hard time seeing where I'm putting it here. Now, there's a dimensional right there. So you can keep that in mind when you're placing your dimensionals. There we go. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing with the bottom. I think we're going to be proactive this time and go ahead and just snip the end of that off. And then this one, because I put the sprig on the right side of that leaf, I'm going to come down here and put it on the left side of this leaf down here. Okay. Very pretty, isn't it? That silver and the way it pulls out that center of the poinsettia, just beautiful. And then I'm going to take my greeting, my happy holiday greeting, just add a little bit of glue to that one side there, and go ahead and pick up my petal here and just sneak it under, but I do want it to show, so I'm just going to do it like that. And then go ahead with my fingers over here and kind of pull those ends up just a little bit there, just to give it a little bit more dimension. And then I thought it was fun just to have another little piece of this sheer real red ribbon to kind of poke in here. It just seemed like it needed one more finishing touch, and I'm just folding it in half. I'm taking a glue dot, and because it's sheer, it will stick to both of those. I'm going to come underneath this right petal there and just pop that under there. Okay. And if it's a little more than what you want, remember you can always come in here and you can trim it up. Now, it's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. One more thing though, just to make, I have found to make these poinsettia cards really pop is hold the center with your finger, because I know that that glue is not completely dry yet, and go around, and the small and the medium flower, pop those petals up. Okay, continue to hold that center, work around it, and do it all the way. And it just brings that poinsettia to life and is absolutely gorgeous. Can you see that dimension it gives it? Really, really pretty. I just think this is a very clean, sharp holiday card that anyone would love and would display, I think, at their house. So, all right, so that's the first card in this kit. The second card I have to show you, the kit that you receive, would be these supplies here. You have another piece of real red card base. This one is 4 1/4 by 11, scored in the middle at 5 1/2. You have a piece of 4 by 5 1/4 Whisper White that will be your inside piece. You have an additional piece of white that is just a titch bigger than what the piece is for your inside piece. This is actually 1/4 of a sheet of 8.5 by 11, okay? Then you have another strip of Whisper White that's 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. You should have a piece of silver metallic paper, a little strip of Whisper White cardstock, and then another strip of basic black for your sentiment, okay? And in addition to that, you will also have some embellishments that I'll use here in a minute, and then an envelope, of course, okay? So let's get started. So first I'm going to begin by scoring. It's already scored. Fold my real red and attach my inside piece, which I've gone ahead and just stamped that same sentiment I did on the first card, May Magic and Wonder bloom this holiday. Go ahead and put some Stampin' Seal on the back of that. Okay. And that has our base there. I think I have a little bit of adhesive on my work surface here. Okay, now your other piece that's your 3 1/4 by 5 1/4. I ran through one of the wrapped in textures embossing folders that I talked about with the first card, and this is that second design that gives it that beautiful, almost like a basket weave kind of texture to it. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach this with some multi-purpose glue here. And this is going to be placed on the card base and centered. Top to bottom, left to right. Remember, you have a little bit of time with the multi-purpose glue that you can shift and move things around if you need to. Okay. There you go. Okay. All right. The next thing, I'm going to set that aside. The next thing we're going to want is our 1/4 sheet of Whisper White cardstock. All right. And we're also going to want this beautiful poinsettia stamp from the set. I'm going to be inking it up with the Memento ink pad. I'm going to place my little foam pad underneath there because it is photopolymer and it will give me a much better image. I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. This is one of those stamps that I think inks much better if you take the ink pad down onto the block. And we're going to try and get 3 of these on this piece. So keep that in mind as you're working. You can have a few of those petals kind of go over the edge of that Whisper White piece. That's okay. But again, give your paper time to soak up that ink. People get really excited when they stamp. And sometimes you don't get a good inking because you have rushed and gotten too excited about pulling up your stamp. We're going to do a second one, over here. And then you'll need a third one. Sorry if that's shaking my camera. Go ahead and place a third one. And notice how my petals went off here and here. That's okay. And it's going to happen on this third one too, but that's okay. Okay, I think that this stamp looks gorgeous colored in, okay? So I'm going to pull in some of my blends. And I actually have 4 different colors of blends represented here. You all know that blends come in a combo packet. There's a light and a dark, okay? I have simply pulled the color that I'm using on this project out, but know that any of these colors would have a combo pack that comes with it, okay? So the first thing I'm going to start with is my dark Daffodil Delight. And I'm going to use the small little pen tip end to that one. And I'm just going to come in here and I'm going to color the very centers of this poinsettia. Now, there is a stamp in this bundle that coordinates with these little dots that you easily could ink up and just stamp over the top of it. It's photopolymer, so it would be easy to match up and see. The next color I'm going to do is the pink, which is the dark flirty flamingo. And again, I'm going to use just the little fine tip. There are 5 little spikes that come out. Oh, sorry, 6. 6 little spikes, centers, that come out from the center of this flower. And you're just going to take and color all of those in this beautiful flirty flamingo. Okay? Now I have 2 reds here. I have real red and I have cherry cobbler. I'm going to start with my light real red. I'm changing my mind. I'm going to go, sorry, my light cherry cobbler, because I really want to show you some petals that I'm highlighting. I'm going to use the brush tip end. There are some smaller petals here that are in the center. And I think one of the most beautiful things about a poinsettia is when you have all those varying shades of petals and reds in them. So we're going to go in, and with your light cherry cobbler, I'm going to color all of these smaller leaves. Okay, there's 3 of them there. There's another one here. It's a little bit larger than those first ones I colored, but it's smaller than the others overall. And then just to balance this out a little bit, I think that this one here looks really nice. To do it, just to balance that flower out a little bit. Okay? The next color I'm going to pull in now is my light real red. And I'm basically going to come in here and I'm going to color all the rest of these petals this color. Okay? And you kind of, remember, they're called blends. So what I do is I go back over that cherry cobbler. It's not going to change the cherry cobbler red. It's just going to make it a little bit darker and richer looking, that color. Notice how I'm just going really light. You know that Stampin' Up! Blends, you just take a light hand to color these in. And again, you can go back over that cherry cobbler, go back over that real red again, and just help those petals kind of blend together too. Finish this off. And I just love using these different reds like this. I just think this gives this such a pretty look, a variegated look almost. Poinsettias come in so many colors nowadays that I've had a fun making. And watch my Facebook page, because I have a lot of different poinsettia cards coming up. I kind of went crazy with this bundle. I loved it. And there's so many different colors of poinsettias, so you kind of can. But see how that made that really give that a really kind of a varying color there with the really contrast color with the petals, and really made it pop. Okay? All right, so for the sake of time, I went ahead and I colored some of these ahead of time. So I have all 3 of them colored, okay? The next thing I want to pull in, and the blends, of course, would be an add-on item to this class, okay? The next thing I want to pull in is my stitched shaped framelits. And the stitched shaped framelits come with circles, ovals, and squares. Of course, just like it says, they're stitched all around. And the square largest one actually has a scallop with it. So it's a nice little bundle. This will be an add-on item for this class. So if you don't have it, it's a great thing to pick up for your stamp stash. So from the inside out of the squares, if I count 1, 2, I'm going to take that second square framelit for this. And I think this measures 1 7/8, if I remember right. And basically what we're going to do is I'm going to take this over to the Big Shot, and I'm going to place these so that they have different, I might place one off to that side with that poinsettia. I'm going to place one off to the opposite side with that poinsettia. And then this one in the bottom, I'm just going to do right in the middle, okay? So bear with me. I am going to do these right now in live time, running them through my Stampin' Up! Die Cut and Emboss machine. And it's still new to me, the machine, but I am loving it. I have really enjoyed the new machine. It just, everything glides through so nice and smooth and easy. And I'm finding that my plates are not bowing as bad. They're staying a little more flat. All right, so you saw the one. Here is the second one. And then let's do this last one. Okay. And there's my last one there. So I have a total of 3. Okay? All right. So now let's bring our card sample back in here. Right here. And I'm going to attach some dimensionals on the back sides of all these. The back sides kind of look funky too. You know those blends sometimes, we know that they bleed through, but sometimes the back sides look kind of cool too. I'm going to go ahead and just put 2 dimensionals kind of on opposite sides here. Let's see, I want this one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to attach the bottom one first here. And I'm just going to come right in from the edge, that bottom edge a little bit. But I am going to eyeball here and make sure that we're fairly centered here. This die in particular has some little basket weave that I can actually count. So then I know that I'm fairly centered there. The next one, I want to save the one that's the center of the flower for the middle. But the best thing when you're attaching 3 things and you want them to be centered is to attach the top or bottom ones first, and then you make room for the centered one. You know exactly where it has to go, and it will be centered perfectly. I'm going to turn this back around because this is the right side up, and I just want to, and then this one should center nicely in between those other 2. Okay, isn't that pretty? Then you have a little piece of Whisper White that is in your kit, and I'm going to take some mini dimensionals, and I'm going to place one on each end of this Whisper White. And then that gets placed right across the center there. If you wanted to put a little bit of multi-purpose glue back behind there, you could. But those 2 dimensionals should hold that nicely. Your black strip here, you're going to white emboss the Merry Christmas that comes with this stamp set. And for the sake of time, I have already done that. I'm going to take a little bit of multi-purpose glue and just down the center of this, not on the sides. I'm going to place that right here on the center as well. Okay. I don't want it on the sides because I don't want it ooping out past this Whisper White piece. Now, this card needs a little holiday bling. So your metallic silver piece that's in your kit will get run through one of these little sprig dies here, this one here. And again, there should be enough for you to be able to get 2. If you turn it a little bit to the sideways and sideways, you should be able to get 2 out of that. I've gone ahead and done that ahead of time. And I'm going to take a little bit of multi-purpose glue and just put a little bit on those lower berries and then down that little sprig there. And because nothing is glued behind that Whisper White piece, I should be able to just sneak that stem right down in there, no problem. Same thing with this. I'm going to add just a little bit of glue here and here. And put it down here on this side. Okay. If you want those to pop up a little bit more, you can take your finger and do that. Now, just to finish this card off, I thought it was really pretty to add some of Stampin' Up's frosted and clear epoxy droplets, okay? I love these. I pull these out in the holiday time. So there's one that's crystal clear here and very shimmery, but then there's this other one that's this frosted look, which I just love. And I couldn't decide on this card what to use, so I used both. I mixed and matched. So I took one of the shiny ones, and I placed one of the frosty ones next to it. And then on this other side, I did the complete opposite. I did the large frosted one and one of the small shiny ones, okay, clear ones. All right, and I like them because you can pick them up nice with your fingers too. And this is a little pack, believe it or not, of 96 embellishments. You get a lot in these, okay? 2 little sheets of this, 96. So that would be an add-on item to this class, all right? Okay, so that is the second card for this class, all right? So let me pull these back out again so you can see them. 2 cards here. There's another one. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, I just love the poinsettias. So pretty. Okay. So these 4 cards are a great beginning to anyone's holiday card making, but it's not near as many as you've made at my annual holiday card classes, and probably will only put a small dent in your holiday card list. So as promised, I wanted to take this opportunity to talk about some alternatives I'm offering with my holiday class to go kits. If you decide to purchase the Poinsettia Place class to go card kit, you would have some additional options. I will be offering each of the kit cards that I just demonstrated in this video today in packets of 6 that can be purchased for $12 a pack, plus postage if you do not live in the local Iowa City area. One pack would include all the same contents as in the Class to Go card kit. Supplies needed to create 6 cards with envelopes of chosen card design, meaning all the pre-cut, scored cardstock, papers, embellishments, ribbons, and envelope to complete 6 cards for an additional $12. Now, that's pretty easy math, $2 a card, which is about the same as I charge at my annual holiday card class. So it's a pretty economical way to not only have plenty of cards to send out this year, but a great way to make something handmade to send to those important people in our lives. And won't everyone appreciate that even more this year of the pandemic? So again, if you have any questions about any of this, please never hesitate to shoot me an email. I'm glad to explain further if needed. Thank you for tuning in today. I appreciate your time. Stay well. Until next time, take care.